2. Probably don't think of yourself as someone who lies. Of course not. But I bet you do something much quieter, much more common. You agree when you don't mean it. Think about it. It happens in these tiny, almost invisible moments. A friend makes a comment about a movie you actually loved, but you just nod along when they say it was terrible. Someone tells a joke that crosses a line. Makes you uncomfortable, but you offer a tight little smile just to keep things from getting awkward. Afterward, everything seems fine on the surface. There was no argument, no conflict, no drama. But if you pay close attention, you might notice something inside you tightens up. Most of us are taught to believe that being agreeable is a social skill. It's a sign of maturity, a way to keep the peace and get along with others. This pattern starts way earlier than you might think. As kids, we learn incredibly quickly what happens when we disagree with the adults or even the other kids around us. Or maybe it just earned you a look of disapproval from someone you wanted to impress. It evolves. You become known as the easy to get along with one, the low-maintenance friend, the super understanding partner. People love you for it. But what they don't see, what they can't see, is the frantic internal negotiation that's happening inside your head every single time you suppress what you really think. You're constantly asking yourself, is this worth saying? Is this going to make things uncomfortable? Will they like me less if I speak up? So you edit yourself. You do it in real time, in the middle of a conversation. It's not because you're a dishonest person. It's because you've learned over and over again that being fully, authentically honest can have consequences you'd rather avoid. At first, the cost of this self-editing feels small, almost insignificant. It's just one sentence you didn't say. One preference you didn't mention. Start to feel this strange sense of distance in conversations where you're physically present. You feel completely drained after social events that, by all accounts, you handled well. You might even find yourself struggling to answer a simple question like, "What do you want for dinner?" Or "What movie do you want to see?" Because you genuinely don't know anymore. This isn't just being an introvert. This is a state of internal exile. You've pushed your own true self so far away that you can barely hear its voice anymore. Psychology has a clear explanation for this. When you repeatedly override your own natural impulses and authentic responses just to maintain someone else's approval. It turns down the volume on your own inner world. This is how people lose access to their own voice, not in some big dramatic moment, but gradually, quietly, one polite nod at a time. You notice your breathing becomes a little more shallow. You feel a delayed sting of resentment hours later. Because even when your mouth says yes, your nervous system knows when you've betrayed yourself. And that sense of betrayal doesn't just stay inside you. It leaks out. It affects your relationships. People around you might start to feel strangely distant from you. Not because you're being cold or unfriendly, but because you're filtered. They're interacting with your carefully curated, agreeable representative. They don't sense any resistance from you, but they don't feel any real intimacy either. You might even start to notice a pattern in the people you attract. You find yourself surrounded by people who talk more than they listen. People who just assume you're fine with whatever they decide. This isn't because you are that way, but because you have meticulously trained them to believe you are. Over a long period of this, something inside you starts to shift in a much deeper way. The anger you suppressed doesn't just vanish, it turns inward, becoming self-criticism or depression. The sadness you didn't express doesn't resolve. It morphs into a general numbness. Your very sense of identity becomes blurred. Like you're watching a movie of someone else's existence. And maybe the deepest, most painful cost isn't that other people don't know the real you. It's that you start to forget who that person even is. Making decisions becomes exhausting. Your own preferences feel unclear. Perhaps the hardest part of all this is that most people who constantly agree genuinely believe they are being kind. They think they're being compassionate, thoughtful, and selfless. But kindness without honesty isn't really kindness. It's fear dressed up as virtue. Real, authentic kindness must include truth, even the truths that are inconvenient, even the truths that risk making someone a little uncomfortable. So, how do you reclaim your voice? It doesn't mean you have to become aggressive or confrontational overnight. It's much simpler and much scarier than that. It means starting to tolerate the discomfort of being misunderstood. It means letting a quiet pause exist in a conversation where your automatic yes used to live. It means allowing the world to adjust to you for a change, instead of you endlessly adjusting to it. At first, this will feel completely wrong. Your body, your nervous system, will scream danger, even when there is none. Your energy starts to return. Your relationships begin to clarify. You'll find that some connections naturally weaken the ones that were built on your compliance. Because authenticity has a powerful filtering effect. It repels what isn't truly aligned with you, and it strengthens what is. The cost of constant agreement is immense. It's a mortgage on your soul that you pay in daily installments. But the cost of reclaiming yourself. Thank you so much for watching. If this resonated with you, consider subscribing for more content on living a more authentic life.